like a manager. Okay. uh, so if you can actually make a quick note of this, right? um, I would strongly recommend, right? Basically, when you look at any kind of a question, right, please make sure, unless and until the question specifically says that you are the CEO, okay, assume you are a CEO and then you decide on something. For every question, because this exam is a CISM exam, okay, understanding is that you are the information security manager and you should think like an information security manager and give all the answers, right? So so the point, what you need to, these are the focus areas that I would always say when you talk about thinking like a manager. Okay. The first and foremost aspect is aligning security with business goals, which basically start from this integration at a strategy level, your business strategy, your business objectives, you are aligning security there. Okay. With respect to risk management, we just spoke about it, making sure that always the risk stays below or at the acceptable level of risk. Creating value. So just doing things is not enough, right? How can you actually create value? How can you improve business? Not a roadblocker or a cost center. You're not just a person who's spending money in the name of security, right? Decision making and governance. So when you are actually looking at either a policy development or resource management, okay, or compliance and legal, for each of those things, right, need to understand each of those areas first, how exactly they impact your organization's goals, etc., right? From a risk management perspective, from an incident management perspective, okay. Um So how exactly you know, in terms of incident management or risk management, what comes first, what comes next, how are you communicating things, right? So if you talk about risk management, yeah, everybody speaks about risk assessment and risk mitigation. After you mitigated the risk, or actually after your risk response is done, what exactly happens as part of risk communication, right? You need to understand that part, right? Keep that in mind. Okay. uh, Incident response planning, how exactly you plan, how are you coordinating and communicating as part of incident response, during the incident what is happening, after the incidents how are you making sure that there is no repetition, how is there an improvement. Like everybody here had definitely experienced the pandemic. How exactly during the pandemic the whole incident response was done, how people have communicated with each other, how they have collaborated with each other, right? So all of that. And the next point where you're thinking like a manager, okay, is in terms of performance measurement and metrics. The fact that if you cannot measure something, then please be sure that you cannot assure to your management that the thing is working correctly. The most important part, I would always say that if you cannot, if something is not if you cannot measure something, if there is no metric to something, then you cannot definitely provide any kind of an assurance, right? So that's why a KPI should be there. You know, a metric should be developed. A key performance indicator for that metric should be clearly developed, right? How you improve on that particular area, right, with respect specific to that metric, that should clearly be there. Okay. And reporting that information, sharing that information, communicating that, making it available to people who are responsible, or who should be informed, or who should be consulted at a racing metrics level, showing all of that, that is all, that is very very important as a information security manager. So when you are studying, when you are going through the entire content, when you are doing your practice, make sure that all of these concepts is something that are continuously hitting your mind, and you know, creating a mind map. Basis that, you will be able to get closer and closer to that, number of correct answers, right? But more than that, it will start giving you that confidence that okay, it's not just about this exam, okay, but after this exam, okay, you have to be an information security manager. Either you are changing your job, or you're attending an interview, or you're having a conversation as a CISM now, okay, or you'd be consulted. Okay, you are a CISM, give me a response to this. What is the best thing that to do in this kind of scenario, right? In such a scenario, thinking like a manager, right? How is it that you can give the right answer? It's by this, right? Analyzing that particular scenario and applying the right thought process to give the right kind of decision. Okay. Finally, these are the resources that I always, not just me, of course, across Visakha, we always ask, any kind of a participant of our webinars or seminars or sessions, boot camps, to review when they are, attempting the exam. All official ISAKA resources, which is the CISM review manual, the latest one, the QAE database, the latest version, it's 10, 9 and 10 is something that is good. Whatever course that you have attempted or attended, the review course, uh, uh, you just go ahead and log into isaka.org and sign up there. It's absolutely fine. I mean, you can go ahead and register. Sure. uh, any kind of additional third party resources, which is training providers like us, authorized training providers. See, ultimately, what I would strongly recommend, if you are going ahead for the exam, is making sure that you study as a group, right? If you're already part of a group, wonderful. If you're not, study as a group. Make sure that you develop a schedule and stick to it, especially in scenarios where you're not experienced. Okay. Um, in few scenarios, there will be certain industry trend based questions you may be asked in the exam. And second part is in terms of your understanding and how to improve your overall jargon, how to improve the terminology, how to understand the terms and terminology, making sure that you uh, subscribe to industry trends. There are multiple websites there out there. Go through them so that you keep make yourself aware of that. So this is what that I would schedule. So at the end of, I would suggest, at the end of the day, this is what I would suggest in terms of the tips and tricks. Follow them, keep them in mind. Make sure when you are practicing the exams, practicing for the exam, follow those trends, follow those guidelines, prepare well. And if you are planning to give the exam, wish you all the best. I hope this would be helpful to you. Or if you are here for the CPA part also, yes, definitely. I hope it was good and a good refresher.